back. We are working on chapter 5 in the book Starting Out with Java, and the problem we are solving today is called dice game. So basically what they want us to do is to create a dice game that would allow us to play a dice game with the computer. So we have to create two instances of the dice game class, one representing the computer and one representing the user. And we have to roll the dice for 10 times and then count who won each round. If the computer gets a higher number than the user each time we roll, the computer wins. If the user gets a higher number than the computer when we roll, the user wins. And we have to keep track of that, the winner count, who won each round. And after we finish the 10 iterations, we have to display the grand winner, the computer or the user. We have to display that. So I already created a class called dice game. So what we would do is we would create a main method. So I created a main method. Then we have to create two instances of the dice game class, this class that we are working on. We have to create two methods, two instances, one representing the computer and dice game, another representing the user. Then we have to keep track of the wins for the computer and the user. You will say computer wins 0, and we say user wins 0. After that, we have to create a method that would generate a random number, for the dice. So we will call it get face for each of the 6 faces. It will roll later. So we'll say random new random, and we'll say int num equal random next int. We will say 6 minus 1 plus 1, because we want to make it inclusive. We want to have 6 possible faces, 1 to 6. So we'll return the number. After that, we also have to create a method. I will call it, it will return a string. I will call it who won. And it will take a user and it will take a computer, which I name it with C. Then we have to compare their faces. Each time we roll, each time we roll the dice, their dice will display a number, right? It will display a number ranging from 1 to 6. So we have to compare the two numbers for the user and the computer. We'll say if user is greater than the computer number, we will say let's create a variable. We'll call it output that will hold who won. We'll say output equals user wins. We'll say if computer's number is greater than the user, then we'll say output computer wins. If they said if user is equal to the computer's number, we would say it is a tie, right? And we have to return whatever the output or the number is. Then we have to go back to our main method and say you have to create a header for the game. We'll say printf. We'll say %1s, %20s, %20s, %20s. It will have four headings. You will say round, then you will say user round, computer round, and who won. Then we have to create a space between the heading and the results. Then we say int I0, I is less than 10. Then we will create int for the user round. We'll say the user object get face. The method get face will give us the random number between 1 and 6 for the user object, and we have to create for the computer round. You have to call the computer object get face. Then we have to compare the two. Say user round. If user round is greater than the computer round, then we have to increment user wins by 1. If computer round is greater than the user round, we would increment the computer wins. And we are basically comparing these two numbers, these randomly generated numbers of the random number. We are comparing. If the user has a higher number, then the user wins. If the computer has a higher number, the computer wins. And if computer round is equal to the user round, then we will say user wins equals 0, computer wins equals 0. Then we have to print it. We have to print this, the results, and I will copy these 4 variables. So the first variable would be the index of the loop, the value of I, then we'll say user round, then computer round. Then we have to call our method here, who won. We have to call it. I don't want to use the object. I will make it static so I don't have to use the object. I will say who won, and I will say user round and computer round. So it will tell us, this method will give us who won, if the computer won or the user won or there is a tie. So I think that would be it. So let's run the program. And I think the printing is not right, but let's say if the program is correct. So the first round, the user gets 2 and the computer gets 3. So the computer wins because 3 is higher than 2. The second round, user gets 1 and the computer gets 4. Computer wins the first 3. Then the fourth, they tie because 2 is equal to 2. Then the user wins because 3 is greater than 2. So the program works just fine, but the display, it's not displaying right. I think I have to increase this. I have to add a couple of pixels, and also I forgot to display their final results. I will say user wins, and say computer wins, and I'll say grand winner. I will say, I will call who wins, and then I would give user wins and computer wins. So let's run it again. Okay, the print is kind of okay. It's not lining up correctly, but it's okay. So the first round, the user gets 5, the computer gets 1, the user wins. The second, they are tied. Third, they are tied. So it should be that the computer should win. Grand winner, yes, computer wins because it has 3 wins versus the user, which has only 1 win. Let's run it again. User wins 0, computer wins 1. Okay, how about now? User wins. User has 6, computer has 4. User wins. So you can see here it lines up. So I think that would wrap it up for the program, and I will paste it in my GitHub account for the code, and try it out and let me know what you think. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.